Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with a different type of video. This is going to be a simple little discussion type thing about the direction I think the games are taking and everything. But anyways, let's just get started with the first one on the list, which is Elsword. Now, this game, it's got a lot of hit and misses. Like, there's been a lot of older players quitting, but there's still like a nice handful of them. And I can see why. But at the same time, to a newer player, they wouldn't really notice about a lot of this stuff because they haven't experienced it. But me, myself, I've been playing this game since Season 2 PvP? No, that's when I started my own Dimension Witch. It's been since Trapping Ranger came out. And back then, I used to main a Wind Sneaker. There's like really, really old videos of that one. But ever since Season 2 PvP came up and I ended up making another account, I've been maining a Dimension Witch, and I've honestly loved her character, regardless of how the ups and downs have been for her. Which leads to the first topic, the character balancing. Like, there's a lot of cases where it actually is good, but there's others where it just sucks. Because the company that runs the game, KOG, they're not really good at balancing. They really aren't. For instance, they get the idea to finally separate tooltips where it's like skills do different damage or even sometimes effects in dungeons than in player versus player. That's something they should have been done a long time ago. We've been asking for it for years. They finally got around to it about, I'd say, roughly 3 updates ago for North American players. But main thing is the fact that it's practically like they just can't balance a thing. Like, for instance, they just recently brought back the defense ignore in an extent for dungeons. What I mean is that, say like an enemy has 4,000 defense, you're ignoring all of it again with certain skills. Unfortunately, the critical trait never got this treatment, but hopefully it will later on. But the same case with the skill thing. It's like, if they got 4,000 defense in dungeons, then you're going to ignore it all. If it's player versus player, you only ignore 25% of it, or 1,000 defense. So it's like they have 3,000 on top of that. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like, some choices they do make are actually pretty good, others are really, really bad. And it just, like, anybody that's really been paying attention to this game for a while will notice that. And they might not be happy about what the changes are. They might be happy about it. It depends on their different views. Like, I, for one, welcome any changes that make add characters weaker in player versus player. Even though I don't even play player versus player anymore because it's become completely train wreck, and I'll get to that later. But I actually welcome that. Because everybody has a character that they hate or whatever, but I literally hate a character or a class for really specific reasons that are actually, like, it's not somebody just trying to blow around salt or steam or whatever. It's the fact that there's something about them that just makes it truly horrible. And that's where we're about to go into this next topic, player versus player. It's become such a freaking train wreck. Character balance has not helped it. Gear hasn't helped it. And then on top of that, there's this screw up with the ranking system they practically done, where even D ranks can fight double or maybe even triple S rank, which is sad, especially considering the fact that there's a huge penalty if you slip and lose now. So, while a D rank losing to a double S wouldn't even do anything to them, a double S losing to a D rank will probably drop them a rank or two instantly. But that's the whole thing. It's like, it's just not cool. It really isn't. And then, like I said, the character balance makes them do some really stupid crap. Like for instance, that ad character I mentioned before, there's no defending against that guy. There's none. Because Mastermind's got ways to sip and track you from a distance. There's, and I mean, like, off-screen distance. It's like, you're not running for him. Diabolic Esper's practically got 2 MP bars. I mean, so does Lucille, but Diabolic Esper's fills up way faster than Lucille's. I mean, you have to switch between both Lu and CL in order to sip and fill up theirs. Diabolic Esper can use some of his in order to build up the other one. Like, that makes no sense. Not to mention, if he's got a Ring of Fury, then he's going to build up the other one pretty quickly. But, and then there's Lunatic Psyker, who is sort of like a mix of both. It's like he's got a second little combat thing where he just does a crap ton of combo damage. And it can teleport to you off freaking screen. That makes no sense. But, like, player versus player is a huge train wreck. Be quite honest, I recommend that you sip and just do it for the quest if you're going to play it. If you are really, really serious about player versus player, more power to you, but you've got a long road ahead of you unless you're packing practically maxed out stats, plus 12, plus 13 weapons, and all this other sorts of stuff. And even then, you might still sit up and see your character getting a little bit nerfed due to the new system. But, there's that. Now, on the other side of player versus environment or the dungeons, those are... It's a hit and miss on that one. Like, we just recently got a new one called, the Side Fusion Theory, which also happens to get the strongest weapon in the game now. And it's... I honestly don't know what to say about it. I mean, there's a few cases where it's, like, challenging and others where it's just flat out easy. Like, I even went back and went with a weaker weapon that cut my attack power by half and still survived the thing. I've seen videos where people took their weapon off and still survived the thing. I don't know what to think about it. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant for you to have some really strong stuff to even get in there, because item level 160 is no easy feat. But it's like, wow. When you get in there, it's just like, wow, we powered ourselves up for this. And keep in mind that heroic mode is easily stronger than that area. Like, if you want more of a challenge, go play heroic hell dungeons. But, I think even heroic normal is more challenging. But, the thing is, it's like, it's just, for the most part, a method to try and get a legend weapon, since the raids are gone. I've got one of the oldest legend weapons in the game, which is a Perky Sauce weapon. There's an Eltrion one, too. And it's like, that's just a replacement for those, for the most part. And then you gotta power the crap up out of that weapon if you really want to make the most of it, so expect running that dungeon a lot of times unless you're extremely lucky. Like, the luckiest player ever would probably end up getting roughly the weapon and all the discs to drop for each of its stages in 16 runs. Maybe 15. But you really gotta power that up in order to make the most of it. And then on top of that, powering it up, you also gotta set up and make your equipment stronger. And that's where we go into this next topic, the freaking paywall. Now, every game has a paywall that actually, like, has you, like, load up real life money in order to get some stuff. Every game has that paywall. It's called DLC in most cases. But the thing is, it's like, when it comes to your equipment, you can easily get plus 7, maybe even plus 8. You can get plus 9 fairly easy if you know what you're doing. But when it comes to getting plus 10 and above, which you're likely going to need in order to get that item level high up enough, or in the case of the type void weapon, you need plus 13 to get all the effects. But it's the fact that there's a paywall, because good luck trying to get there without the safety materials, which is the fluorite and the repair scrolls, because you're not getting those. Events are rare to hand them out. And then on top of that is the fact that you got to buy them off other players, and you're going to need a crap ton of ED for it, because you need multiple of them the higher you get. Not to mention, there's also the fact that you could end up getting your plus 11 to drop to plus 10, or your plus 12 to drop to plus 11, which is why I wouldn't even do that. Like, that's the whole thing about it. But the way this game is going, it's like got its ups and downs and all that. They need to come up with some better content. They need to do some better balancing. It's like hit and miss stuff, but that's the whole thing about it. I mean, there's definitely some good things about it. Like, I really like the massive customization ability you can get in this game. Like, it's not just customizing your classes, but customizing your equipment and all that too. Actually, is pretty cool. Even customizing the character's looks if you manage to get the costume pieces and everything. But it really needs to go a different direction, to be quite honest. And It's just not 100%. Now, do I believe this game is a bad game? No. I don't think it's a good game either. But it's got potential. So I'm hoping KOG actually unleashes that potential. So there you go. But anyways, that was practically the discussion about this. I'm going to do more videos about discussions for other games too. But I'm just going to leave it like that. And I will see you next time, guys. Take care.